Hello everybody, it's Arkansas Minuteman 0864 here, coming to you again. We're going to go into, I guess it'll be like part 5, I think it is, of those who properly prepare survive. This particular episode, I'm going to keep it on one topic. We're going to talk about home defense tactics and strategies. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode. Now we're going to take it, we're going to expand out further. As the old saying goes, a man's home is his castle. And most men are going to defend that castle to the bitter end, if at all possible. Now the question is how can we go and make improvements and changes to our home where it's more defensible, it doesn't look as prone to being enticing to people wanting to come in there and browse around and plunder and rummage and see what all we got. We can do a lot of things. We can put up no trespassing signs. Okay, what's no trespassing signs going to do? Well, not a lot, but it will help in the while law and order is still in place and still being enforced, and as long as law enforcement officers do what they're supposed to be doing. Now another thing, and this was one of the first projects I started on my property, and I'm still working on finishing it up, is you can fence in your property, put a fence around it. Is it going to stop somebody from coming on your property? No. But it will slow them down. As I stated in the last video, you could go and put trail cameras up on the most likely avenues of approach where people are going to try to come onto your property at and approach your home. The best ones to put out are ones that use a cell service, because then you can be sitting in the house and trail camera goes off and you automatically get a photograph on your phone. And you can see, is it somebody doing something they don't need to be doing, or is it just one of Mother Nature's critters running around out there tripping it off? Now that will be a problem, because you will get a lot of false alarms on your trail cams like that. And the biggest deal that you're going to have to worry about on that is that you're not going to have to become complacent. Every time your phone goes off, you finally, human nature is after a while you get tired of it and you just quit looking at it. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose there. You're wanting the trail cams out there so that you get prior warning to it. Now for people such as myself that is in an area where you don't have cell service, and you got distances greater than the range of a wireless camera system, or you got a lot of trees and stuff that will block the signal, then you can use trail cams, but you have to continually go out there and check them and see what's coming and going and all that kind of stuff. Are they useful? yes, up to a point, they're good for collecting intel. But as far as that goes, they're not going to be useful to you as far as giving you a heads up and a warning time for you to prepare to greet them. But they're still useful. They're still valuable to have. You put them up, you collect the intel, and if anybody's coming and going on your property, you'll start seeing a pattern. And then you can start making preparations to deal with them another way. Now, fences, people can climb over them, you can drive through them, and all that. But they will slow people down. And fences are kind of like what they say about locks. They keep an honest man honest. Another thing that you could do is, if you've got the ability to run like a backhoe or something like that, you can potentially go around your entire property boundary and dig a trench all the way around it. And if you're going to do that, you might as well dig a nice wide V-bucket ditch. That way they can't just drive across it. Now they're going to have to fill it in, or they're going to have to find something that will support the weight of a vehicle, or at least a bunch of people running across it, that's long enough to reach from side to side and won't break in the middle. Another thing that you can do is you can put a fence up and then go just a few feet inside, and this works really well in like wooded areas. So get you a bunch of barbed wire, get a bunch of stakes, and you can go and put tanglefoot about 6 to 8 inches off the ground, and you can run strands of that back and forth across the ground. That'll trip them up, won't stop them, but it'll slow them down. Now around my house, I'm using a wireless security camera system, and I have got pretty much all my blind spots in my house covered. I've got one that points straight down my driveway, so when you're coming up the driveway, it alerts on my phone and lets me know that you're coming. Another thing that I mentioned in my last video is an infrared / heat sensor type driveway chime system. I've got one on my driveway, and it goes off in my house anytime anybody goes or comes by. They also make a magnetic one, which is good for picking up vehicles and anything metal coming in, though it does not pick up human foot traffic. It's good if you're just wanting to know what vehicles are coming in, but it's bad if you're wanting to know if anybody's walking by it. It's good because it don't give you a bunch of false alarms by deer going by it, like the sensor motion driveway alert does. So those are all pliable techniques to use to make your house more defensible. You could go do some research on other booby traps. You could buy books to talk about the various booby traps that Victor Charlie used over in Vietnam when we were fighting that war over there. And my advice to you is study them all you want to. There's no law against studying. There is no law that says you cannot build them, practice building them. But what the laws do say is you cannot put them in place and leave them armed. Because if somebody comes on your property and they step in them and run a spike up through their foot or in the side of their leg, they can and most likely will hold you liable for it and sue the daylights out of you in court. Anything that you learn like that, you need to tuck it away in your mental toolbox. So if the SHTF does hit and everything collapses and there is no law and order anymore, at that point, if you ain't got law and order, it's going to be Katie bar the door, anything goes. And there ain't going to be a whole lot anybody can do about it. If I go on your property and you set a punji stick trap, I step down in and put a foot on top of a large size nail and shove it through my foot, and then you got several more to angle in there and they go in the side of my leg. Okay, if the courts ain't working, lawyers ain't working, because everybody's too busy trying to protect their own family and stuff, hey, you're going to be able to sue me. You can't. End of story. So, I'm not telling you to go do it. I'm just saying if you want to do it, you can find the material out there on the internet. You can find books on the different techniques, how to build this kind of stuff and all that. And you can study it the hardest of life. But I caution you, do not, and I repeat, do not go set it up and leave it live on your property. Because somebody gets hurt, you're going to be the one paying for it. And that goes for pretty much any other booby trap out there. One that comes to mind that has been tried and the guy got sued over it. He also got criminally charged for it. He had somebody kept breaking in his house, so he took a shotgun, set it up on a chair, rigged it to the door, so that when they opened the door, it pulled the trigger with the gun pointed at the door, and it put both barrels of double-aught buckshot in the guy, and it killed him. The family sued him for liability purposes in civil court and won. He lost everything. And he lost his freedom too, because the courts came back. He got charged with premeditated murder, and the jury found him guilty on it. And he went to prison. So don't do it. Don't do it. At no time does this channel condone anything you do that you take from this channel after you've been warned not to do it. And is in violation of any law, local, state, or federal. If you decide to go do it, that is on you. I am not telling you to do it. I'm leaving that decision up to you if you want to learn about it. I'm just telling you what your options are. But I do not condone anybody going out there and doing it unless the world is totally gone to hell. And it ain't got there yet. Now, how to make your house less likely for people to be curious as to what you got. Keep your yard clean. Don't make it look like a junkyard. Don't keep a bunch of stuff stored out in the open where it's openly visible. If you've got a storage building that has windows in it, go hang up curtains or put something over the windows so they can't walk up to the windows and look in. When you leave your house, leave your curtains drawn. If you're like I am and got French doors, put curtains that draw across both doors. When you leave, draw the curtains closed. Don't leave the door where you can just look in. Anything that you keep stored outside, get it up, get it inside under cover. Because all that kind of stuff is what attracts attention. And with attention comes curiosity. They see you got this, then they wonder what else you got. So now they start snooping around trying to see what all else they can find that you got. So clean up your yard. Make your yard look nice. Don't leave anything out, especially expensive looking stuff, because that's guaranteed to grow legs and walk off real quick. What else can you do about this? Some people say, well, put a good high hedgerow around your property, especially if it's from a roadway. That way people can't look across your property and see what you got out there on it. True, it does, but that one, or putting up a fence where people can't see in, has also got is a double-edged sword. Yeah, they can't see in, but then again, if they get through the bushes or scale the fence, like a privacy fence, and they get on the other side, at the same token, your neighbors, if you got any around, they can't look across there and see anybody walking around or rummaging around your property in order to call law enforcement to come investigate or call you and tell you what's going on. If you do that, you better have a damn good camera system set up that will catch any motion out there and will alert you immediately so you can get somebody out there to go and check it out and all that. Now, let's look at tactics on this thing and strategy. I don't want to bug out. I want to stay. All my stuff's here. My family feels safe here. We don't want to leave. We don't want to lose nothing. We're going to defend this place to the bitter end. Okay. Well, why do you consider the bitter end? Some people consider that till somebody shoots you or stabs you or just flat out kills you, and then they just take whatever they want. Kill the rest of your family, rape your wife, kill your children, all of that. Excuse me. So what can you do? Okay, first thing you want to do is look at, one, what is the situation that is so dire, or you think is so dire, that's making you want to bug out. Is that situation something that you have bugged in and rode through, but this time you learned a lesson from last time that it got worse than you thought, and you won't make that mistake again, but you don't know if you'll survive it again. Has everything gone to pot? Has all law and order broke down and basically non-existent? Has the economy totally collapsed? Has their food markets been looted, rummaged through, pillaged, and completely empty. The supply chain shut down, and you ain't getting no supplies. Is it? Well, I'll give you a prime example. Look at Jamaica right now. And Hurricane Melissa has a Cat 5, 185-mile-an-hour winds. I haven't seen any photographs, but I'm hearing reports Jamaica is a total shambles down there. They know they got a bunch dead, but they ain't got an accurate count. They know they got a crap load now that are homeless. They ain't got nowhere to stay. Is it something like that, where if you stay, you're about 99% certain that you're going to wind up dead if you stay? Well, if it's a situation like that, the decision's already been made. You got to pack what you can pack, get your family together, and get the hell out and try to get somewhere safer. Unfortunately, with Jamaica, they really didn't got nowhere to go. They're an island in the middle of the Caribbean down there. Unless they left a week ago before this thing ever come up and got to somewhere else, they had nowhere to go. If it's a life or death situation, it's always better to go and err on the side of caution and get out. Go somewhere. Even if you have to go pitch tents in the woods somewhere, get out and go pitch tents somewhere. If it's something that you've weathered before and you feel comfortable staying, then stay. But then you got to look at things. Is my security good enough to give me a heads up if somebody's coming in here? What is my plan of action if somebody gets in here and they kick the door down? Do I have a problem killing another human being, especially a fellow American? Well, some people are like that. I'll give a case in hand here in a minute. You need to make sure all of your defenses that you've got set up, your fences is in good shape. If you dug your ditches around there, have you made routine property patrols, checking to see if anybody's coming in? Are they laying anything across any trenches or ditches you may have dug to be able to get across that obstacle? If you lay tanglefoot, is your tanglefoot still all up and good? Because if you get deer and dogs and stuff like that into it, they get tangled up in it and may tear it down and leave gaps in it where you can just walk across it and not have a problem. Are all your cameras working? Are they working properly? If you got trail cams that are set up, are you checking those regularly, making sure the batteries are good in them? If you got ones that are on cell service and got a solar panel, are they working properly? Are you getting photographs on a regular basis off of them? Networking with your neighbors and whatnot. Are you constantly talking to your neighbors about watching your place and all that? You got to check all of this and make sure that's all working. This is what's important to create. Some people are calling it a MAG, mutual assistance group, call it a tribe, call it a community assistance group, call it your community. It goes by all kinds of groups. Everybody, for the most part, steering away from a self-militia because that seems to be taboo these days. Because unfortunately, a bunch of extremists out there have gone out there and taken the word militia and they have hung their their bad ideologies on it. So now everybody hears militia and they're like, "Oh my God, he's a skinhead. He's a neo-Nazi. He's something most of us ain't." But you got to check all that stuff. Then you got to figure out, if they come in this house, where am I going to be able to get in my house that's going to give me the most defensible position? And from that defensible position, do I have an escape route that I can get out if I can't hold them back? Because I promise you, shit hit the fan. It ain't going to be onesies and twosies and threesies out there wandering around rummaging and plundering. It's going to be groups of 10, 12, 20, 30, 50. There are going to be some good-sized groups of people out there rummaging around, because they're going to gang up because they know their strength in numbers. And hence why it's getting to be a popular thing about people need to start making their tribes and who they're going to match up with in the event. You ain't going to hold them off, bud. I hate to tell you this. Nope, ain't going to work. So have you got an escape route? Okay, you get out the escape route. Have you got somewhere else you can go? At that point, have you gone up into that point and cached supplies and food and water, and yes, maybe a weapon or two and ammunition, definitely ammunition? Can you get there safely? Can you get there undetected? Because if you don't, they're going to follow you. Now, one strategy that, and I mentioned this before on my other channel, he commented, "I'm going to put the first floor in total disarray so that it'll dissuade people to come in plummeting around. And then I'm going up on the higher ground and I'm going to hold the higher ground." Well, you could take the higher ground in a house, yes. However, I have not seen many houses that's got a second floor or a third floor that has an easy egress route out of it, i.e. an outside door with stairs to get down on. They normally have nothing but maybe a balcony and windows. And many second-story houses don't even have a balcony. All right, so if you want to climb out a window, how you going to get out the window? And this was all points I brought up to him. And I thought about it a couple of days before I finally fired back at him. And I fired back at him in a good day to make him think about things. I was like, okay, first off, one man's trash or junk is another man's treasure. People are going to come in there and they're going to rummage around to see what you left. And they're going to find stuff that they either need or they want. And then they're eventually going up the stairs to see what's up there. First problem you got with that is, first time you fire around at them, they're going to know where you're at. And my Dexcom G7 is going off saying I'm too sweet right now. So my pardons for that noise, the dinging. Well, they're going to fall back unless you get the first one, but anybody behind them is going to fall back. They're going to know where you are, and they're going to be pissed. So now they're going to start figuring out, if it's a group of them, they're going to go back out around the house, and what they're going to do is they're going to wind up, and this is what I would do also. Again, I'm not condoning this. I'm just saying what I would do. I'm not telling nobody to go do this. I would move my group outside, get them under cover, watching all four sides of the building, watching every window up there. And then I would have a crew go inside and take whatever was downstairs that would burn, and I'd start piling it up in front of every window, every door, and then I would have enough piled up through the middle of the rooms and whatnot. And then I'd set it on fire. And then I'd go out, and the last pile I'd set would be the door I went out of. After a while, it's going to get mighty warm up there on that second floor. They're going to get a lot smoky too. You ain't going to be able to breathe. After a while, that heat ain't going to be able to be stood much longer either. You're going to come out of there, or you're going to burn alive. That's going to be your two choices. You either crawl out a window, and you either use a rope or tie sheets together or something that you can climb down on, or you've got smart and went out there and bought one of those first alert fire escape ladder systems that's like a chain and metal type ladder system that hooks on a windowsill, and you climb down it. Now here are the problems you got. It takes some pretty good upper body strength to climb down a rope, because if you just slide down it, you probably ain't going to be shooting nothing no time soon, because your palms, your hands are going to be burnt like crazy, because you're going to rip the skin off of them. And you got to worry. If you're got a family, got kids, do they have the upper body strength to climb down a rope? What if you got an infant? How you going to get the infant down the rope? Because it can't climb down it by itself, and it's going to be next to impossible to hold an infant and climb down a rope. Do you have elderly parents or grandparents or an elderly neighbor that's staying with you? Can they get down a rope? Can they climb down a ladder? Because the ladder's the same way. That ladder moves. It ain't like throwing an extension ladder up on the side of the house and climbing down it. Those first alert ladders, they're flexible. They move around. And you got to have upper body strength to hang on to that thing while it's moving around. And anybody that's been in the military and had the, I don't know if you call it the good fortune or misfortune of using a rope ladder out of the back of a Chinook helicopter or an old UH-1 or UH-60 helicopter, you know what it's like trying to climb a ladder that's not solid. It ain't easy. That's something you got to worry about. The other thing is, too, you got a group outside waiting for you to come out. They gonna, when you stick your head out that window, they just going to pluck you off. Boom, that's it. You're gone. And they still might be able to get in there and extinguish fires enough that they can go rummage what supplies and stuff you got upstairs. They may let you get to the ground, then take you out. They're probably going to kill your kids because they ain't got no use for the kids. Your wife, they may take her captive if she's lucky, which in the end will be unlucky, because they're going to haul her back to wherever their base operations is and make her a play toy at night and rape her and torture her and abuse her in ungodly ways. And then when they tire of her, they're going to dismiss her just like they dismissed you and the kids. All right? So there. That's something you got to think about. Now, this is why you got to think long and hard about staying in when maybe you should have bugged out somewhere. Now, if you got a tribe together and there's a whole group of you, then yeah, you can stand a hell of a better chance of holding off a large group of people. Especially if you know the property like the back of your hand, and you can put people in strategic locations around and get them caught in the crossfire and whatnot, ambush them. Because the more you cut down, the more the others are going to say, you know, screw this crap, I'm out of here. It ain't worth this. And if you do a good enough job, word to get out, and people will tend to leave you alone. Oh, you're still going to find a few Billy Badasses out there that's going to want to come in there and try you. thinking they can overwhelm you. And if they get enough people, they probably will. So don't get overconfidence on that. You got to remember, overconfidence will kill you as quick, if not quicker, than no confidence will. So you need to sit down, and you need to sit down and take a map or aerial photograph of your property, and you need to start picking out where areas are where it's natural funnels, or you can set up obstacles to funnel people through certain areas so that it makes them more congregated, and then if you surprise an ambush on them, it's going to be more deadly. Bottom line. So, but because something, you got to look at everything from a tactical viewpoint, but then you got to turn around and play devil's advocate and look from it from a strategic viewpoint, and you've got to ask all the hard questions. Well, I take the guy that's going to hold the high ground. Tactically, yeah, it sounds like a good tactical plan, but strategically, is it that strong of a strategic plan? In that case, no. You're getting yourself bottled up into a corner, and the paint's still wet, and you don't want to put footprints in that wet paint. The problem is, this one has got, you can paint over footprints. You can't paint over death. And that's where you'll be. So stop and think about things from two viewpoints. A tactical sense, and you got to think about it from a strategical sense. If I stay, what am I strategically gaining? If I go, what am I gaining strategically? Which makes more common, better sense? That's just the kind of stuff you got to think about, and you got to ask the hard questions. Yeah, I may have to bug out. I may have to destroy a lot of crap that I've stockpiled and whatnot because I can't take it all. But so be it. I'm alive. I can fight another day. If you're dead, you're dead. Your fighting days are over. And then everything you got there and everything that's on you, you have not just outfitted somebody else to go do the same thing to somebody else. And it may be one of your own tribe, it may be your neighbors, it may be one of your kinfolk. So there's more than just saying, I'm going to do this if the shit hits the fan. You got to sit down, you got to think hard, you got to think long, you got to think in depth. You got to think in it from a tactical sense, then you got to go and think at it from a strategical sense. Because believe it or not, something tactfully right may not be strategically right. They're not one and same thing. Sometimes you can do something that is tactically right and strategically right, and they both mirror up, and you're getting a good solid gain from it. But most of the time, they're going to be opposite to each other. And that's a big part of it. So, I know you're tired of hearing my ding-dongs up here, because I'm sure you can hear it. So with that being said, we're going to close this video out. There will be another part coming, and I will probably start it out with some more home defense strategies and tactics. And then I will go into some other subject lines along that, or I may finish up the home defense strategy and tactics part and do my library part of it. I may do that, finish up the strategy and tactics, and then go straight into books, because I'm starting to get quite a few lessons about what books I have, and or questions rather, and I'll bring out a bunch of books and stuff, and we'll go over them And we'll get you another part out here. Hopefully you all are enjoying this. Pass the word about this, and tell your friends out there to jump on board and watch them. Let me know what they think, and if they will, tell them to subscribe and help me out there too. I'm just trying to keep the channel going due to subscribers, and I am in no way making any money whatsoever off of YouTube. None. I don't have no sponsors. I don't have any Amazon page. I'm not getting monetarily paid by YouTube for this. I'm just doing this as a hobby and to have something to do in some of my downtime when the weather's been bad like it has been the last couple of days and I can't get out and do much. So pass the word. Help the old man out. Help old Sarge out here. So, as always, be prepared and survive. And pay attention to detail and live.